Hi, I'm robert-genest, ron-chimelis, editorial team at the Springfield-Republican. And Ron, in your latest column, you write about baby boomers, specifically Donald Trump being a baby boomer, and he represents like the worst of the excesses of the baby boomers. I mean, many have complained about the millennials, and they're spoiled, glued to their phones, living with their parents. But this is from your article, and you say,
Right.
it's become very fashionable for people of my generation to sneer at the kids who walk out of school to protest gun violence, tongue-tie themselves with political correctness, and worry the earth is burning up. But before we laugh or disparage them too much, we ought to look at baby boomer Trump, and in doing so, look at ourselves, at how we squandered the opportunity to be great. How did that happen?
Well, a lot of things that made me think about this, things I've written, things I've felt. I am a baby boomer. I was born in 1955, and I feel some guilt at what I think our generation had the chance to do great things. We had the greatest generation before us. That's what they were called, and I think with reason. And we had resources they didn't. We had money as a country and in most individual families that they did not have. And I feel as we head to the end of our period of influence and power, we're not done yet, I think we've lost the opportunity. And with this debate about Trump, the way he acts, the way he is, his bellicosity, his belligerence, his arrogance, I say, well, he's one of us. He was born in 1946. He's a baby boomer, and people don't really look at him that way. I think he represents the excesses in that generation.
Now, the baby boomers built up deficits. There's 2 wars that they paid with borrowed money. Reagan had to trickle down economics that basically said if you give the money back to the people, they'll spend it. That kind of didn't happen. I mean, is that a kind of a good illustrative way to say how the baby boomers are a little selfish?
Well, that's part of it. It's not just financial, and I don't want to be Mr. Moral, but there is some values and integrity involved. I think we've lost sight of real accountability, being responsible for the things you do and taking responsibility for that. And the millennials get blamed for that. Generation X and Y, they got blamed for that. But in a way, we kind of invented it. The first aspects of a generation that said, it's not my fault, don't blame me, don't make me pay for it, I think was ours, the baby boomer generation. And I think that's been passed down. I think it's gotten worse. So when we look at today's kids and criticize that, I think we have to take some responsibility for that from our generation.
But I mean, Generation X in the 60s kind of stopped the Vietnam War by protesting. They're doing a lot for climate change. I mean, the millennials are out on their tours protesting gun violence. Aren't they picking things up and moving on?
I think they are. Not always in ways that are comfortable to older people, such as myself, but I think that's true. And look, the baby boomer generation produced some great people and great causes. The greatest generation wasn't all that great. Civil rights was abysmal. The environment was abused. There were things that happened in those years that we wouldn't tolerate today. Nonetheless, there was a personal system of values. There was an understood set of rules in families, in finance, that has been discarded over the generations. And I think a lot of that started with the wealth and prosperity of our generation, the baby boomer generation, that had things that Americans had never had before. And we took advantage of that, but I don't think we attached to that the integrity and the responsibility that should have gone with it. And that has been passed down to the next couple of generations.
So if a politician these days said a John F. Kennedy quote, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country, would that wash today?
Of course not. It should. It was one of the great American quotes of the 20th century, and it did resonate in 1960. And I think Kennedy's assassination cynicized and frightened people so much. There was a definite attitude change. The optimism this country had been known for, it didn't vanish, but it dissipated a lot. Reagan brought some of that back, artificially or truthfully, whatever. But if Kennedy or anybody said that today, I think most people would make Saturday Night Live jokes about it. Some people would respond. But it's a great quote that we should take seriously, and I don't think that many people do.
Now, how could things change? I mean,
Well, I think they are changing. And I think kids, look, I get frustrated too when kids talk as if they know the ways of the world and they're 18, 19 years old, and people my age say, come on, you're not being realistic. But at least there is a sincerity to what kids say. They're not old enough to be cynical yet, some of them. They want to change. They want to fix the school shootings. They want to fix the environment. And in a way, I think that's refreshing. I think instead of laughing at them or ridiculing them, we should at least pay attention to them. Because we wanted people to pay attention to us in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
And it's, history repeats itself, and that's happening now.
Okay. All right. Ron, thanks very much.
Thank you.